I'm Melissa Torres.
And I'm Marmie Leach.
And this is Movin with Mel and Marm. It's summer.
Summertime is here. Summertime in the living zoos.
Oh, I love it.
Love it.
Yep. You have any big plans for the summer?
I am taking a few trips. I'm going to Kentucky.
Nice.
Going to Palm Beach.
Fun.
The girls are very excited about that one. Actually, by the time this airs, I'll be there.
Nice.
Gonna go to Kansas City. Every I like to do a few trips in the summer just because it's so hot here. Every trip I'm doing is sort of just like to visit somebody.
Yeah.
So I'm like, I need to be better about like actually going on a trip. Do you know what I mean?
Oh, yeah. It's not really a vacation when you're staying with people.
Yeah. I mean, it is. Like, no offense, like Mom and Annie and everybody.
Yeah, it's just different. It's
just different. But we are going, Ryan and I are going, just the two of us, to a wedding in like LA or somewhere south of LA in July. So that'll be sort of like a vacation.
Fun.
Yeah. So I'm excited. It's going to be a fun wedding.
Yeah.
Yeah. What about you?
So this is the last summer before Maddie graduates high school.
Oh my gosh, I cannot believe that.
I know, I can't either. I got a little teary-eyed when I was passing the high school because they were setting up for graduation, and I was like, this is going to be us next year. Like 1 year away. So we're a little late to the game, but we're gonna go visit some colleges this summer. So
yeah,
I'm
excited.
Think
that's too late.
Well, I guess it just depends. She's narrowed down the list. We're gonna go tour, and it'll be fun.
So where are you guys gonna tour? What's on the short list right now?
So Arkansas for sure. And other than that, I don't know.
Okay.
So she has a couple ideas, but we just have to figure out where it makes sense to look. But I know Arkansas for sure is on the list.
Yeah. Cool.
Yeah.
It's going to be fun.
It is going to be fun.
Yeah. Well, I wanted to be a cartoonist when I was a kid.
Oh. So, are you good at drawing?
Not really. I mean, my mom would say like, oh my God, you're so good. And because, she's my mom. But I mean, I think I'm good at drawing. I'm good at like looking at an image and then drawing a similar thing or painting. But I can't just like paint things from my head.
Okay. I wish I was good at painting. I love especially like when it's a childhood home or like they've lived there a long time, like the gifts of either the sketches or the watercolor.
Yeah, those are nice.
And I would love to be able to do that.
Yeah.
But I could not.
I think I could if I had the discipline, but where do I do it? Do I set up an easel? Where do I keep the paint? The cleanup is hard.
Yeah.
It's one of those things that I'm like, I don't really know how to begin. And so then I just don't do it.
Yeah. I mean, I guess like when you have kids, it's like the space for your hobbies becomes your kid's space. So
yeah. One day I will maybe have like a arts and crafts room where I could have like paintings or something.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
Yeah.
Different stage of life.
Right now I think it would be our entire house would be painted. Yeah. We did have our first drawing on the wall the other day.
Oh no.
A rite of passage, I think.
Oh no.
Yeah. Yeah, so we did have our first drawing like crayon on the wall.
Did it come off?
Crayon, crown, whatever you say. I call it crowns, but Ryan thinks I'm crazy.
What? I have never heard that in my life.
Okay. What are the different things like crayon, crown, crayon? What do you call it?
A crayon.
A crayon.
Yes.
It's called a crown.
A crown. That is not right.
I know. I can't. Okay. We are going to finish off our first time buyer series that we sort of like didn't really intend it to be a series, but it kind of happened.
Yeah.
With talking about when we bought our first homes and what that experience was like.
Yeah.
So when I bought my first home, I was really young. At least I thought I was young. I was 20, either 23 or 24.
That is young.
Mm-hmm. I had been married for like 6 or 8 months, and my family was encouraging me to buy a house because the interest rates had gotten like under 5%.
Okay.
And so at the time, that was like, oh, the interest rates are under 5%. You should buy a house. Like, this is a really good rate. So just to put it in perspective there. And so I just thought about it. I was like, okay, I'm paying this much in rent. If I buy a house for this price, then I can pay about the same or maybe a couple $100 more in mortgage. Why would I not do that? Because part of that's going towards principal.
Right.
And the house is going to appreciate.
Mm-hmm.
So we ended up meeting, I was not a realtor, obviously. We ended up meeting a realtor at an open house who we work with. She's amazing. She was actually my mentor for a few years.
Mm-hmm.
And she started taking us around. And I didn't really even know, like, it's really interesting how I think that first, when you're buying a house for the first time, it's a little bit like, I have no idea what's happening, but you just have to trust the process.
Yeah.
We looked at a lot of houses in different areas. There was one that we almost made an offer on, and I'm glad we didn't. It was going to be more square footage than we could find in our budget.
Mm-hmm.
However, it wasn't in as good of an area as the one we ended up buying, and it had like a hoarder house across the street.
Oh.
And there was this one weird thing that this house had that I just couldn't wrap my mind around. Do you remember when people used to like paint the tile instead of just like redoing a bathroom?
Yes.
And it was almost like textured too.
Okay.
It was strange. And I just like couldn't ever wrap my mind around that, like being our bathroom. I don't know. Something weirded me out about it.
Was it a house that, you could have updated and changed?
Yes, but at 23, like I had no money to do that.
Okay, so that you couldn't live with it as is while you were saving up to remodel.
Yeah, like we could live with it. It wasn't like gross. It was usable. But it's just, there was something about the fact that the tile had been painted that really bothered me.
That is so funny.
It really bothered me because I was like, but the original tile wasn't that bad.
Yeah.
And so we ended up buying a house, and we probably could have made a better investment, but it was our first house, and we were thinking more with like what we liked better. It only had one bathroom instead of two, which I'm always like, two's better. It's easier to sell one day. This is not your forever home. But it had one bathroom, and it was not an updated bathroom, but it was a big bathroom.
Was Goliad your first house?
No.
Oh, okay.
My first house was on Sudbury.
Oh, okay.
On the west side of Abrams. So like there's like a small little pocket. I think it was called Caruth Terrace.
Yeah.
Right behind Tom Thumb over there.
Yep.
It was so cute. I loved it. We had an updated kitchen, so that was a big deal. It had 2 bedrooms plus like an office room and hardwood floors, and it was perfect.
Yeah.
I loved it. Yeah.
Very cool.
So yeah, we bought that house for, I still remember the numbers. Bought it for $232,500.
Yeah.
We sold it for $320,000.
How long were you guys there?
2.5 years.
Okay.
And the only thing we spent money on was like paint. We did redo some ductwork under the house, and we redid sod in the backyard and took down like a rotten wooden structure in the backyard. So we probably spent about $10,000 on the house.
Wow.
Pretty good.
So my first home that I bought when Peter and I got married, he already owned a home. He bought, I think he was like 21, 22 when he bought a home. And so we lived there for, I guess, 2 years, maybe almost 3 years. And he was, of course, there for several years before we got married. And then we sold that home. It was at the same time that we had opened a restaurant in Lake Highlands. So we sold that, and we ended up leasing in Lake Highlands for a year. And the first home that we bought together, which is like my first home buying experience from like beginning to end, I had become a realtor. So I was like probably about a year into being a realtor.
Yeah.
And But it ended up, it was like on the same street that we were renting on. And we had looked at a few other homes, but like not seriously. And then it was like, okay, this is easy. This is the one that we're going to buy.
That's awesome.
And so that's what we did.
Did you remodel it?
Yes. So when we bought it, it was totally move-in ready, but a lot of it was original. The kitchen had our home is built in 1967. So really the only update is that the kitchen had granite.
Okay.
That was pretty much, and everything else was original. Mm-hmm. So we bought it and we lived in it as is for probably a good 2 to 3 years.
Yeah.
And then we started remodeling. So we did upstairs first. Upstairs and like the entryway, we did all of that first, and then we did the kitchen, and then we did the primary bathroom. So we did like 3 stages of construction, and then we did outside. We've like added a kitchen and a fireplace outside.
The outside is awesome.
Thank you.
And your bath. I mean, everything's nice about that. I love it.
Yeah, it's, I am very happy with what we did. It's always, I'm excited for the next project mm-hmm. that we do. So like our kind of what we've done, I mean, even though this is only our first house together, but like the Peter's house, we remodeled that and then sold it. And then, so we've kind of like done that repeatedly. And I like buying houses that have potential that you can customize. Mm-hmm. And update because number 1, you can get what you want.
Yeah. And
number 2, you can add value.
Yeah,
so
definitely.
It's a great way to get some sweat equity.
Definitely. I think it's a good time for a first-time buyer to buy.
Yeah.
Because you can take your time looking. There's definitely still going to be multiple offers and competition on the perfect updated homes.
Yeah.
But you don't have to be like, hey, do you want the house or not? And like there's more options, inventory is up, and there's just more like time to think it through and say, yes, let's buy this home. I think people are going to have less regret, like buyer's remorse on what they're buying,
right,
than they did during COVID.
Yeah, you don't have to, although like if you did buy a house during COVID, there are some people that did really, really well.
For sure.
And if you got one of the really crazy low interest rates, the payment being so low, like there are definitely people that it was good that they made quick decisions, but you had to think really fast and you had to be ready to move. And now you can just kind of breathe a little bit.
You can breathe. And like with the rates, what I'm telling my first time buyers is, hey, like let's adjust your expectations on, like, you want to buy a house. Okay, that's wonderful. Great investment. These are the rates. Mm-hmm. I know the payments are high. So let's just make sure that you adjust your price point to match what your monthly payment to be. Your first house does not need to be perfect.
And it doesn't need to be your forever house.
No.
Like that is, I think, the key, that you buy, you get some equity, and then you can either keep that house as a rental with a 30-year mortgage that's an owner-occupied interest rate, which is great.
You just gotta check your loan terms, make sure they can't accelerate on you. But yes.
But or you take the equity out and roll it into a new house.
Yeah.
So, either way, you're adding up, it's better than if you were just leasing something.
Yeah. Usually, yes, I agree.
Yeah. As long as you're willing to stay there, for at least a certain amount of time. Like you can't, I was out with some clients and we're looking at a rental, and, they were going back and forth about, okay, should we lease or should we buy? And they're not sure if they're going to be in Dallas, in the next year or two. And I said, okay, it makes more sense for you to lease.
We keep seeing all these, influencers in real estate saying, oh, as soon as the rates drop, the market's going to go crazy and the prices are going to go up. What do you think about that? Do you think that will happen?
So I think if the rates dropped, I do think the market would go back to crazy. I do.
COVID crazy?
Pretty close. Yes. Because I think people would be worried that it would be temporary and go back up. And so they would want to take advantage when they're low.
You're right.
Do I think that rates are going to get back to the COVID 3%, high 2%? Unless we had a major economic crisis, no.
Yeah.
Interest rates that low are a sign of a weak economy. Mm-hmm. So that is there to start, basically to jumpstart the economy. And so unless something really bad happened, then I don't think we're going to get that low. Yeah. I think if we got into the 5s, I think we would have a really good market.
Yeah.
I think the challenge now, if you're a first-time home buyer, I think as soon as you feel comfortable to buy, you should buy. I think the people that are current homeowners that want to either, upsize or downsize even, that have those low interest rates, I think that that's a little bit harder for them to make the decision to move, because it has to be like the perfect scenario.
So those are the people that I think are going to, that's what I think could make the market a little bit crazy if the rates go down, because we're reaching a point where some of those people who bought or refinanced during that time are starting to think, okay, I'm kind of ready to move. It's been like this, just like standard period of time where people are ready to move, and they're not moving because they're afraid of their losing their rate, because all of a sudden you bought a house for $500,000 and you've got this low payment. Well, you want to upgrade to an $800,000 house, but the payment's like 3 times what your payment is on that. So it's really hard for people to move. So I think that I definitely think we could see a lot of people like that go into the market. That's why I think it is a really good time for a first-time buyer, because you're not competing against a ton of people right now.
Right.
I think there's a lot of people on the sidelines who are going to jump right in if the rates go down.
And though the only caveat to that is the people that have a lot of equity in their home, if you're upgrading and you can put a significant down payment down with, looking at your overall loan amount makes a difference. But yes, your payment is going to go up more than it would if you would have bought, when interest rates are lower.
Yeah, no, that's true. I have seen some lenders run various scenarios to see what it would actually look like. And there are some people who have so much equity that it actually doesn't change that much to upgrade for them.
Right.
Yeah.
And there are buy down options. There are ways to structure it. But just overall, I think people are less likely to compromise on what they're moving into. They want it to really be that perfect scenario.
Yes. And that is what I really try to tell my first time buyers. You do not need to buy the perfect home.
Right.
If you're just trying to start investing and get into the market, you do the best you can. Try to have as little expenses on it as possible, and hold on to it for a few years, and then upgrade later.
Yeah, so everything is stepping stones. I think that's, and this is kind of just a cultural thing that we want everything now and we want everything to be perfect, and we see all of these beautiful homes on social media, and that's not reality for everyone. And it's just a matter of starting to get into the market, to build equity, to build wealth, and to continue moving up.
Yeah. Awesome. Well, that was a great chat.
Yeah.
Talk to you later.